So first of all, I hope everybody grabbed a song sheet by the doorway on the way in. If not, please go ahead and get some. And I am very excited that tonight the younger, not the youngest, but the younger members of our congregation are leading us in worship. All of, we know everyone that's sitting in front of the bima this evening went to a Jewish camp this summer. All of them have been before, and we're so fortunate that they had a great time and are willing to lead worship services for all of us tonight. So tonight, I have the pleasure of sharing the bima with Ben Norton, who is our song leader, with Ellen Gray, who is the Watch representative on our Board of Trustees, and thanks to Travis Duval, who is streaming, so folks at home can join us as well. I just want to say a few things about Ben so that you can feel like you know him a little bit, although his music speaks for itself and his energy speaks for itself as well. So Ben grew up here at Louisville, and he grew up at the Temple. And in fact, I didn't know Ben until this year when he became a counselor. He was a first-year counselor. But when I have gone to camp in the past and Rabbi Rapport was there from the Temple, we would take a group like Louisville picture with him on one end and me on the other. And then it was pointed out to me like, oh, there's Ben from one of our congregants when they heard that he was going to be our song leader. So I have hanging in my office pictures of Ben when he was much younger. But here he is now. He is a senior. No, he is not a senior. He graduated from high school. In a couple weeks, he's going to Brown as a freshman. So we wish you a lot of luck. And so Ben really caught the Gucci fever, as so many of our campers have. He went to Gucci for 9 years. He was in the Avodah program, and Jackson did that this summer, and he'll talk a little bit about Avodah. And then he was a counselor this summer, and he was also a song leader. And I also want to mention that Nora went to Camp Ben Frankel, which is another great Jewish camp, and another member of our congregation went there as well. And Nora's gone there for a few years, and it's in southern Indiana. And in fact, one of my colleagues who was a faculty in Illinois, I said Indiana, it's in southern Illinois. And one of my colleagues, who was a Reform rabbi in Indianapolis today, when she was a kid, she went to Camp Ben Frankel. So I think it's the oldest, if not one of the oldest Jewish camps in our country. So all our kids had a great time, and I'm really glad, again, that we're here together. So to everybody, Shabbat Shalom and welcome. We are going to do some tunes that people will be familiar with. Some are tunes that we do at camp. So please feel free to join in, and when we have something on the song sheet, I will bring your attention to it. So we're going to start on page 10 with the singing of Hine Ma Tov, which says how great it is when we come together as brothers and sisters.
Hine Ma Tov U'Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad 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 Hine Ma Tov U'Manayim Shevet Achim Gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im. Shevet achim gam yachad.
So at this time, it's my pleasure to invite the moms and even a camp sister to come on up as we light the Shabbat candles on page 3. And after the candles are lit, we will join together with Ben in the chanting of the blessing on page 2. Yeah, I said camp moms and camp sister. That's Eden. Guys, come closer to the candle. All right. So you're leaving space. And then you'll huddle around, right? So you're going to do the reading first.
All right, I think we're reading the top.
Okay, I got a mic for you, ready?
All right, Eden, you're starting off. Am I starting? Yeah. Did we decide that?
As these Shabbat candles give light to all that behold them, so may we be our lights give light to all who behold us.
As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
So tonight we're going to hear from each of our campers. They each wrote their own piece, and they were provided by me by 3 different topics. They could choose one to write on. So when they speak, they're speaking about one of the following 3. Either a defining moment at camp, the difference between being Jewish in Louisville and being Jewish at camp, or how camp had a positive impact on your Jewish identity. So to get us started, I invite Carson Blumenthal to the bima.
The difference between being Jewish here and at camp is a long list of things. Some of the major ones are, at camp, Judaism is everywhere. Wherever you look, there's Hebrew painted on the walls, someone is singing a Jewish song, and so on. Every night at camp, services are held and led by campers. All of camp attends these, and it's amazing to see all these people come together from all over the country because we all share one common thing, our religion. Here in Louisville, it can be easy to feel small, maybe being the only Jew at your school, in your neighborhood, within your group of friends, or whatever else. At camp, you know everyone there is Jewish, and it holds magic to me, and I'm sure to many others.
Thank you, Carson. So now I'm going to invite everyone to turn to the top of your song sheet, and I'm going to ask everyone who is physically able to please rise for the Baruch Hu, and it'll be the version on our handout.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed, Le'olam Vaed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai.
Please be seated. It's now my pleasure to invite Harper Klein to the bima.
When I first went to Gucci in 2023, something changed my perspective on my Judaism. Before I went to camp, I felt that there weren't many people that I could share or talk about my faith that would understand what I was talking about without explanation. This made me feel alone, and going to Gucci gave me a whole new feeling about that. After attending camp, I felt more accepted as a Jewish person in my community. When I went to camp, I realized how many people were from different places like Florida or St. Louis. It made me happy to know that there were other people in so many different areas of the U.S. that could share my Judaism with me. I felt that I had a new sense of belonging and felt stronger with others to help me lean into my faith. Being around so many others like me just felt so good. I have found my home away from home, and thank Golden Union Camp Institute for what it has given me.
Thank you, Harper. So again, I'm going to have you look at the handout, and we're going to continue with Roll into Dark, which we've done here before. It is Ma'ariv Arvim, our blessing for creation, which was put to music by Noam Katz.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into night. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei om balayla, kolel or mipnei choshech, kolel or mipnei choshech, vechoshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into night. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into night. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei om balayla, kolel or mipnei choshech, kolel or mipnei choshech, vechoshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into night. Night becomes day, day day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into night. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
Jamie Schrensker, I now invite you to the podium.
A defining moment at camp for me is my first bunk night. This is when my cabin started getting close and I felt the same bond. It's like the bond where friends turn to brothers. I think that's the reason why the magic of Gucci is, because it's like a community and everyone is so close to each other.
Thank you, Jamie. So now I invite you to turn to page 32. We're going to continue with the singing of Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu lemadeta Otanu lemadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu U'kameinu nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratcha U'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu Ve'orech yameinu Uvahem negeomam v'layla Negeomam v'layla Ve'avat chal tasir Mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael
Riley, I now invite you to the bima. Riley Hurt.
The difference between being Jewish in Louisville and being Jewish at camp. Well, the difference is that in Louisville, I sometimes might be afraid to tell people I'm Jewish because the way people see different religions. Sometimes, or I might be embarrassed to tell people that I'm Jewish. But when I'm at Gucci, I feel different because I know I'm surrounded by the people who are Jewish. And some of them might know the same things I do because I feel safe knowing that I have the people who understand my feelings and that I'm also proud to have a Jewish community to be by my side at Camp Gucci.
I just want to say that that feeling of being part of a community, that feeling of knowing that we're not alone, or to no longer be in the minority and shift to be among one of many, is really something so spectacular and so meaningful. And I'm grateful that we have a URJ camp so close to us, because some people have to fly to camp or drive 6, 7, 8 hours just to get to camp. And some people don't have a JHF or Watts or a discretionary fund, or the Jerry Collins Gucci Fund that can help underwrite some of the cost of camp. And our youth are really fortunate. And mentioning the Jerry Collins Gucci Fund, if anybody feels inspired tonight and thinks that this would be a meaningful way to contribute to the future of our youth, know that there's a way to do so. At this time, I invite everyone who's physically able to please rise for Shema Yisrael, the watchword of our faith.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. So every morning we meet at what used to be called, it's called the old pool, because years ago it was the pool, and it was pretty small. So we have 2 pools now, but it's still called the old pool. And even though at 7:45 we are supposed to be out for roll call, we don't call rolls, we don't call names, right? But we do say and sing some benedictions and prayers. So the first thing we sing in the morning, and those who come for Shabbat morning services are very familiar with the Modeh Moda'ani, where we thank God for restoring our souls and giving us the gift of life for yet another day. And then we sing the Shema, the one that Ben just led us in. And then we sing Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Shenatan Lanu Hizdamnut L'Taken Et HaOlam. It's a social action prayer. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has given us an opportunity to mend the world, okay? And all these have different movements that go with it. And then we do motzi, right, our blessing before the meal. And then people are dismissed and make their way over to the Chadar Ochel, the dining hall. So Judaism is really incorporated into all parts of our camp, starting with the first words we utter when we wake up in the morning. And we are going to continue with, in our prayer book on page 36, with the chanting of V'ahavta, which we know is the second paragraph of the Shema, so let's join together. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shiftecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'aderech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני Adonai Elohechem. I now invite Seth Scarborough to the bima.
When people talk about Goldman Union Camp, you might hear the Gucci magic. Over the past 4 years, I've had many personal stories of this feeling that brings people back to camp every year, and this past summer was no different. I've had many great moments at camp this summer, but one stands out above all the rest. This happened during the final Friday Shabbat song session. When we were all singing the Shehecheyanu together, I was crying because I was going to miss camp. And one of my friends just made a really funny remark for no reason. I was sitting there laughing and crying at the same time for a good moment until the point where we were told to get ready to go to Israeli dancing after Friday services. This was such a happy moment this summer that I can still think about it and feel a little glow knowing that Gucci is still with me. I'm very happy that I get a chance to talk about my experience at camp, back at home, and share the joy with my congregation. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Seth, for sharing your remarks with us.
Sorry.
Not a problem. Technical glitch. So we know that when our people went forth out of Egypt, after they crossed the Sea of Reeds, Miriam led the women in song, and together they chanted the words that we can find on page 40, Mi Chamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Torah tehilot, osef eleh, Torah tehilot, Osef Elei Adonai Imloch leolam va'ed Malchutecha ra'u banecha Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Ze'elianu ve'amru Ze'elianu ve'amru Adonai Imloch leolam va'ed Yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai Yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai.
Thank you, Ben. It's now my pleasure to invite Noah Chotner to the bima.
I've always looked at camp as my safe space for my Jewish identity. I return every summer assured that I'm safe and secure to express my love for Judaism and that I'm accepted for who I am. During the school year, I've had moments of fear and loneliness. I was the only Jewish kid in my grade, which made it harder to relate to everyone else, especially during the winter holidays. If I ever heard any students making insensitive jokes, I would get so pissed but wouldn't say anything. However, the summer made a positive impact on my Jewish identity like no other. As I'm going into my 4 years of high school, I know that I'll most likely experience moments of anti-Semitism. This summer, as I was surrounded by my friends, singing at the top of my lungs at song session and putting my arms around my friends at services, it made me realize I should be proud of my Jewish identity instead of shying away from it. Now more than ever, I'm proud to be part of this community and I'm proud to be Jewish.
Thank you, Noah. So I'm going to invite everyone to turn one more time to your handout And we are going to join together in Hashkivenu. It's another song that we have done here together before. Hashkivenu is a prayer that's traditionally recited at night, asking God to keep us safe as the night falls.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom B'chamideinu Shomreinu L'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Hamideinu Shomreinu L'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Hamideinu Shomreinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom B'chamideinu Shomreinu L'chaim. L'chaim. L'chaim.
It's now my pleasure to invite Audrey Hurt to the bima.
The difference between being Jewish in Louisville and being Jewish at camp. In Louisville, mainly at my school, lots of things are happening all around the school at once. Some of these actions are negative, especially towards Jews. At my school, I hear jokes about Hitler and the Holocaust. More likely, it's fun or funny to them to be making jokes like that to themselves. Surprise, surprise, it's not funny or fun to me as a Jewish person. I get upset when I hear that my Jewish friends are being bullied at their school. At school, I feel like hiding my Jewish identity. I don't know why. It's just more comforting for less people to know that I'm Jewish, other than my non-Jewish friends, of course. At camp, people fly in from all around the country, and counselors come from around the world, including Israel, to come to this special place we all know as camp. Camp makes me feel special, and you should feel special too from camp. Even though today we might not physically be at camp, we are joined together here at the synagogue to remember the good memories like the ones we have at camp, spending time with our friends, and not dwell on the bad memories we might have at school. Having hurtful words said to us doesn't feel good, but coming together and sharing the good memories does.
Thank you, Audrey, for sharing those remarks with us. And I was just talking at dinner with parents that were at my table about trying to organize opportunities for our youth to come together with peer groups, meaning elementary, middle school, high school, separately, with other Jewish kids, with a professional, someone from JFCS, who can give our youth a space to talk about what they have experienced or what they've heard or what they've felt regarding anti-Semitism, to give them some tools for dealing with it. And perhaps one of the most important things I want all the parents to hear and the youth, if you go to JCPS, it's very important that if there is any type of anti-Semitism towards your child, it's not enough to tell the teacher or even the principal. There is a form that needs to be filled out to mark the incident. If the form is not filled out, in essence, it's as if it did not happen. So if you have more questions about that, feel free to let me know. I know the parents that were at my table felt it was a good idea to have their children have an opportunity, again, to gather with those in their same cohort, just to have a safe space to talk about anti-Semitism, how to deal with it, give them some tools. So I am going to continue those efforts, and we'll keep people apprised. So I'm grateful that we're here tonight. I'm grateful that not only our youth, but all of us have a place where we can feel safe. Clearly, we feel safer because we have an officer in the lobby, and it's sad that we need that. But I'm grateful that we have the ability to have worship services with protection. At this time, we're going to continue on page 44 with the singing of Vishamru, and we are going to use a tune that we sing at Gucci, but again, many might be familiar with it. The words are the same.
Vishamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat L'dorotam Brit Olam Beini uvein B'nai Yisrael Oti Le'olam Oti Le'olam Vishamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat L'dorotam Brit Olam Ki sheishet ya'amim asa Adonai et HaShamayim ve'et ha'aretz Vishamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat L'dorotam Brit Olam Uvayom HaShvi'i Shabbat v'hinafash Shabbat v'hinafash Vishamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat L'dorotam Brit Olam. Just our voices. Vishamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat L'dorotam Brit Olam.
It's now my pleasure to invite Nora Siegel to the podium.
The difference between being Jewish in Louisville and being Jewish at camp, in my opinion, is here in Louisville, we don't get to do that many fun activities, but at camp every day is a fun day. Things like Hugim and cabin time are things I enjoy at camp and things I look forward to when camp rolls around in the summer. Being Jewish in Louisville is still fun. We have citywide events at the JCC, such as plays, Hebrew school, and events at Temple Shalom, like No Shush Shabbat, and getting ready for important holidays. These events are great places to be with the community and be with friends. So to conclude, at camp, I feel like I have more fun than being here in Louisville, but there is no better place like home.
Thank you, Nora. So I'm going to invite the congregation to please rise for the Amidah, and we are going to sing a line that's not exactly in the prayer book, but then we will join on 46 with what we are familiar with as our custom here at Temple Shalom. So all who are able to, please rise.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering the song in the silence of the night, and eternity utters a day. And eternity utters a day. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Adonai Svatai Tiftach Ufi Yagitehi Latecha. Adonai Svatai Tiftach Ufi Yagitehi Latecha.
Page 48.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vizocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah.
Page 50.
Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofech Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Meimit, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'emanata l'hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol.
Page 52.
Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim l'chol yom yihalelu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated. It's now my pleasure to invite Jackson Schwensker to the podium.
So I participated in a program at camp that is considered under like the camper programs but I wasn't necessarily a camper, and I realize in my speech I don't explain it very well. So before, just to explain, so Avodah, we're at camp for 9 weeks. We get there about a week before all the campers, and we spend the first week getting everything ready, and then over the course of the program, you're split into crews, which you work on for 2 weeks. There's 6 crews, maybe 7. There's a lot. And in these crews, you spend 2 weeks working on a specific aspect of camp to help make it run. So there's about 10 people, give or take, from my year on each crew for the kitchen who help wash dishes and put everything away, and then they clean it up after everything. Or on maintenance crew, you go and you clean the bathrooms and you mop certain floors, you clean up all over the place. You work all over the camp. And so when talking about Avodah, most people recount the experiences of the work and programs that we participated in, which at the core of the program, we do clean toilets and we wash the dishes in the kitchen, but if that's your takeaway, I think the point has all been missed. A phenomenon that we all near universally share is that throughout camp, we often forget what happens, but remember the feeling of it all. That, applied to Avodah, is the much more important topic of discussion. Avodah builds such a strong community and a love between people that I've never felt in any other way. In Avodah, you can dislike someone and still love them. The weakest love I have there is stronger than the strongest love I have home. That is what the program is all about, the peoplehood and the love. And I think it's a very valuable program for anybody who's able to attend, and I think that everybody here should consider applying.
So I appreciate Jackson speaking specifically about the Avodah unit. Like he said, like you're not really a camper, but you're also not a counselor. So you have special privileges, like you can have a phone where all of these, everybody else down here could not have a phone, for example, or other electronics. And as he mentioned, some of the crews, there's also working with Camp Katan, which is the day camp, because someone like me who first went to camp when Noah was too young to be in a cabin, she needed someplace to be during the day. So, and there's other faculty and staff members who have young kids, so during the day they go to the day camp. And also, it's grown so much that there are a lot of people just from the Indianapolis area who bring their kids there as a day camp. They drop them off, I think it's 8:30, and they pick them up at 4:30. And it's a lot of fun. They have lunch in the dining hall with all of us. And one of the Avodanikim said to me when we were talking about different crews that had been in the kitchen, which is, people think is the hardest. Like you're running the whole bar, like as Jackson said, you're mopping the floor after the meals, you're filling the salad bar. I mean, it's a lot, and it's hot in the kitchen. But one of the Avodanikim said to me, no, the hardest is Camp Katan, because these kids don't stop from 8:30 to 4:30, right? And I think, oh, that's great, because they all get like a little taste of what parenthood is about, right? Because when you're, let's say, doing the kitchen crew, it's hot, it's a lot of work, you're sweaty when you're done, but then there's a break in between breakfast and lunch, and there's a break between lunch and dinner. Or if you're doing the office crew, right, you're helping out in the office, which is air conditioned, right? And then you go to the mirpa'ah, like you help out doing some things at the infirmary, or which is different than the crew, which is down at the pool. And I believe the pool is also split with the farm, right? So there's all different things that you're doing, but you get some breaks, right? Like it's not every minute busy, but Camp Katan is intense. And Jackson, just like Ben, they both applied for Avodah. You don't just get to sign up the way you do with the other, right? Parents go online, they sign you up, pay your fees, and you go to camp. You have to write an essay, you have to get recommendations. So basically, that's Avodah. So it's really a privilege. And if you go on their front porch, oh my goodness, right? You will get sprayed with their water guns. Like it's a camp rule. Like you don't go on the Avodah porch if you are not Avodah. So is there anybody in the kahal, in the congregation, who did Avodah at Gucci? Raise your hand. Okay, so Eric did Avodah. And if you attended Gucci at any point in your life, raise your hand. Okay, so we have Eric, and we have Noah Klein, and we have Rachel. Couple days. Well, you gave it a shot. Anybody else? Any other hands? And while we have Rachel, I want to welcome back. She was Rachel Goldwyn. She's the daughter of Beth and Larry and the granddaughter of Rich and Ellen. So she just moved back to Louisville like a week ago. She has a degree, and she is going to be starting a new career, and she's here with Harris and her husband. So we say, Brucha Haba'ah, welcome back, and we are glad that you're in Louisville, and we hope to see you around Temple Shalom a lot, hopefully. Okay, at this time, we're going to turn our minds to the idea of peace. We continue to pray for peace. We know that as our tradition teaches us, that mending the world, repairing the world, tikkun olam, is one of our mitzvot, one of our commandments. And bringing peace between others is so important, especially today, in a world that feels more and more divided. So we pray for peace for our country. We pray for peace for Israel, for the whole Middle East, and for all of God's children around the world. Shalom Rav can be found on page 60.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. B'tov be'einecha livarech et amcha Yisrael. Bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
At this time, we call to mind our loved ones who are in need of prayers of healing of body, mind, or spirit. Tonight, our prayers are with Lev Dickerman, Teresa Todd, Al Unger, Beth Haberman, Alvin Casson, Glenn Fosnacht, David Rosenberg, Eddie Abraham, Sharon Gould, Cherry Stuman, Alan Ehrlich, Ted Worth, Bob Title, David Doctorow, Carolyn Rosenthal, Alan Ehrlich, Nancy Fosnacht, Aaron Slayton, the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces, the hostages who have been held in Gaza for 315 days, the Israelis who continue to be displaced from their homes and continue to live with daily missile and rocket attacks from multiple fronts, and fear an increased and heightened level of war, and the victims of the war between Israel and Hamas on both sides of the conflict. If you'd like to add the names of loved ones for us to keep in our prayers at this time, please feel free to say their names aloud. We continue in the middle of page 253 with our Mishra Berach prayer for healing.
Mishe Berach Avoteinu Mikor Habracha Leimoteinu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Berach Imoteinu Mekor Habracha Bavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We continue silently with Tefillat Halev, the prayers of our own heart.
We'll sing together the words, Yehiyu L'Ratzon.
Yehiyu L'Ratzon, Imrei fi, Be'yom Nevi, Lefanecha. Ali, Beko Ali. Yehiu leratzon, Imrefi, Veyomi lefanecha. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Begoali, Begoali, Begoali.
So I'm going to keep my remarks rather short because we have a lovely oneg, and I hope that everybody will stay and join us next door for Kiddush and Motzi and have an opportunity to talk with our campers. They touched on so many things, whether it's bunk night, it could be shaving cream fights, or tie-dyeing a shirt, or having mudslides, or all kinds of things, to having cookouts, to Yom Sport, which is like a color war, and whether it's every unit gets time off of camp, and the oldest unit, when you're like fully a camper, you go 3 days on a hiking trip, a camping trip, I should say, not so much a hiking trip. I mean, it's endless, right? They put on a play this summer, and the oldest unit practices every day for it, and it's a big thing at camp, and it's a big honor. There's so much to talk about at camp, so I would encourage you to go up to one of our campers and just ask them something about camp, even if it's just one question. You know, learn something about camp tonight while you're here, instead of hearing me tell you all the amazing things that camp has to offer. So I'm going to invite Ellen Gray to the Bima to deliver some announcements.
Might as well get a little higher. Can't possibly be shorter. So Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thanks for coming so much, supporting our Gucci campers. It's wonderful. Just wanted to announce tomorrow morning the services will be at 10:30. Also, if anybody has a loved one that's on the Mishaberet list, it'll be on the Mishaberet list for about 4 weeks. It'll be announced in services. If you would like Rabbi to continue having that person's name announced, you just need to let her know, and it will go on for another 4 weeks. Also, August 18th, did you know that there was a role the Jews played in the chocolate industry? Come and learn about that at the Jews and Chocolate on Sunday, August 18th at 3 o'clock, and it'll be at the old Anna Safard building. It's for all ages. So I don't know, do people have to RSVP for that?
We took RSVPs, but we still have spots in our Temple Shalom time slot, so feel free to come and even bring a friend. And you'll get something sweet to eat.
So there you go. High Holy Day information was mailed to your home today, so please keep a lookout in your mailbox for those. Our High Holy Day kickoff and Sleet Hold service will take place September 28th at 5:30. There will be a barbecue, and John Soletto is going to be in charge, heading up the grilling. So if anybody can help with the cooking, please contact John, talk to him tonight, or email him, or give him a buzz. The Sleet Host service will end with the changing of the Torah covers for the High Holy Day whites. Mitzvah Day, to get the grounds ready before High Holy Days, will be September 29th, the next day, from 9 a.m. to noon, and light refreshments will be served. So please, everybody, grab your gloves and your knee pads and your water bottles, and come on out and help with that. Hopefully, God willing, it will be cooler. The fiscal year has begun, so if you have not submitted a voluntary pledge for the following year, please do so. A Time Remembered is a Holocaust-related presentation that will be performed by the Louisville Ballet. And the performance will be in February, but we're allowed to buy discounted tickets for it now. So it's called A Time Remembered, and it'll be in February. For more information about any of the above events, please look at your weekly Temple Shalom news, or there's a flyer in the lobby. Thank you, Ben, for leading us in songs. They were wonderful. And Travis, thanks for streaming everything. Appreciate it. And I hope everybody joins us in the auditorium for Kiddush and Motzi and the Oneg. So Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Yeah.
August 25th.
Oh, yeah, August 25th. We're just August 25th, which should be a Sunday. Watts is actually meeting at the waterfront Botanical Gardens. So if anybody is wanting to meet up, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. I thought it was at noon. So, but there's supposed to be a beautiful bonsai presentation and a lot of other things going on at the Botanical Gardens. So if anybody needs a ride, you can contact myself, Ellen Gray, or Sandy Flaxman, and we can pick you up or, organize rides for anybody who needs them. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ellen. I also want to say there are 2 other Watts events coming up, including their opening meeting, which will be at Sharon Gould's house. So please check the email blast that went out today for all the information you need, okay? Okay, we're going to continue in the middle of page 282. I ask all who are physically able to please rise for Aleinu L'Shabeach. And then after 282, we're going to go straight to 287 for V'ne'emar.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kuryei haratzot, velo samanu kemishbechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kachem, begor aleinu kechol hamonam, V'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu.
287.
V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad ushemo echad ushemo echad.
Please be seated. At this time, we recall our loved ones who are no longer with us physically, but who live on within us. And when we live as they live during their highest moments, we bring honor to their memory. If you are here to recite Kaddish for a loved one, you're invited to rise when their name is read aloud. Tonight, we remember Milton Caller, Leonard Chotner, Dr. George Freed, Blanche Goldberg, Cecilia S. Jacobs, Ann Jacobson, Ida Levine, Ronald Michelson, Gideon Rosenbluth, David Weinstein, Stanford Jean Yusman. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing, and may they rest in peace as we rise together as a congregation, praising God's holy name with the Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Bi'alma divarach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayeichon uvyomeichon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uv'izman kari v'yimeru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mivorach Leolam Olamei Olmaya. Yit Barach V'Yishtabach V'Yit Pa'ar V'Yit Romam V'Yit Naseh V'Yit Hadar V'Yit Halev V'Yit Halal Shmei Dekudasha Berichu La'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tush Bechata V'Nechemata Da'amiran B'Yalma V'Yimeru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Yimeru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Romav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Yimeru Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and grant comfort to all the bereaved among us. And let us say together,
Amen.
Amen. With the exception of our campers who I invite to the bima, I invite everybody else to please be seated. And on the back of the handout is our concluding song. Ellen, you might get a little squished, so if, okay, so it's One Day by Matisyahu. And last year, not this year, it changed, but last year, like when we started to clear the dishes in the dining hall, which is like a sight to behold, this is one of the songs that came on almost like every day, and it's really a camp favorite. So, and Matisyahu, as you know, was a Chabadnik that like turned rapper, but that's just an aside. All right, One Day. And I also just want to say, Ben, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. And to all our campers, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you for being with us during Shabbat. And may each of you continue to have wonderful experiences at Gucci. Ben, have a great year at Brown. And again, thanks to Ellen and thanks to Travis. Here we go. One Day.
Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day. One day, one day, one day. It's not about win or lose, 'cause we all lose when they feed on the souls of the innocent. Blood-drenched pavement, keep on moving though the waters stay raging. In this maze you can lose your way, your way. It might drive you crazy, but don't let it faze you, no way, no way. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day. One day, one day, one day. One day this all will change, treat people the same. Stop with the violence, down with the hate. One day we'll all be free and proud to be under the same song, singing songs of freedom like why oh, one day, one day. Why oh, one day, why oh, 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 oh. All my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day. One day, one day, one day. One day, one day, one day. One day, one day, one day.
Turn to someone next to you and wish them Shabbat Shalom.